Bitcoin just hit $100,000 on the 4th of December 2024, and as of today, it's the seventh most valuable asset in the world. But just 15 years ago, it didn't even exist. Now, you may be kicking yourself if you've missed all of this, but don't worry, the story is far from over. In fact, I believe we're still near the start, and there's plenty of opportunity for you to get involved and grow your investments. So stick around as in the next few minutes, I'll have a brief look at the past, present, and future of Bitcoin and crypto and where I believe it will be going next year in 2025 and beyond. But first, just a quick standard disclaimer that none of this should be viewed as financial advice. Also, make sure to do your own research and never risk more than you can afford to lose. Okay, so Bitcoin hit $100,000 for the first time last Wednesday, the 4th of December 2024. This is a hugely historic and significant milestone. As I say, just 15 years ago, on January 2009, when it was first released, it was literally worth $0, right? Bitcoin's growth has been phenomenal. If you look at this chart here, you can see it's gone from 0 to 100,000 in 15 years. And we've had these, the first time it hit up $1 was back in February 2011, $10 was June 2011, and then a couple of years later, $100 in April 2013, and $1,000 in November 2013. Then it had its fall, its drop during the low of the cycle, and it came back up with strength and hit 10,000 in 2017, and now in this cycle, we've finally hit $100,000. Now, I personally got involved in the space back in 2016 and have fallen so far deep down the rabbit hole that I've dedicated my working life to the space ever since. Back then, BTC was hovering around $400, but that was almost 9 years ago now. So much has happened in the space since, and I've personally lived through two full crypto cycles, and I'm now living through my third one. So this milestone has made me feel very reflective and is why I decided to look a bit at the past, present, and potential future for the space. Now, if you want to set up your first crypto wallet so you yourself can get some crypto and take part in the growing global crypto economy and access over $1,900 worth of courses entirely for free, then click in the link in the description below and you can join me there. So, at this point, most people know the origin story of Bitcoin and the crypto space. Nonetheless, the white paper was released in 2008 by the pseudonymous figure known as Satoshi Nakamoto, who then released the official network and implementation on the 9th of January 2009. That's when he mined the first Bitcoin block. Back then, it was an incredibly niche invention with only a few people on certain email lists that even knew about it. It was also incredibly awkward to use. You had to download a piece of software called Bitcoin Core, which still exists and looks a bit like this. And it was everything. It was the wallet, the miner, the validating node, everything just wrapped up into a single piece of software. Since then, countless innovations have come. Bitcoin Core was split into separate components. All of those components have changed. Seed phrases were simplified to private keys. Hardware wallets were created. Countless Bitcoin clones generated. And from there, lots of different types of blockchains created, like Ethereum with its smart contracts, and many smart contract platforms that have copied Ethereum. And now today, like new tokens and NFTs are literally being launched every second as we speak. Right? A lot has happened and a lot has changed. It's been an incredible journey to say the least. And one could argue that we've actually just about gotten started because the true use cases for the technology and the patterns for how it works are actually finally emerging. One of these key patterns that has emerged and played out quite regularly is the 4-year market cycles. This curious pattern seems strongly correlated with Satoshi's decision to have Bitcoin mining rewards halve every 4 years, which is known as the halving, and I have written about that before. Shortly after these halving events, we regularly see the market repeat a structure where Bitcoin's price shoots up. This drives mania and euphoria among all the coins and tokens before it eventually dies down, dragging everything with it, right? And then we have this kind of slow climb over the next couple of years, and then we have the next halving and the cycle repeats itself. And each cycle's, mania phase has had a different crowdfunding and token launch mechanism drive that, be part of that mania. So back in 13, 14, it was the Bitcoin forks, which were clones of Bitcoin. That's where the likes of Dogecoin and Litecoin actually came to be. Then 17, 18 was the Ethereum ICOs, and new tokens were getting released all the time on Ethereum. The previous cycle that we've kind of come out of more recently was where non-fungible tokens became a really big thing, and there were new NFTs getting released all the time. And now it seems like we're entering a new cycle. It definitely has played out like that with Bitcoin hitting 100K and all the mania that we're beginning to see now. But it's yet to decide what will be the main thing that happens in this space, right? These periods of mania, have come and gone, and token valuations have risen and fall, but the technology has kept growing and expanded, and we've got way more going on in the crypto space than we ever had. The the only thing that's kind of continuously risen has been Bitcoin, and now it's finally hit this 100K milestone. So I believe, and I think many participants believe, that we're undergoing the fourth major like mania part of the cycle. And this started, recently when Trump was re-elected as president and has surrounded himself with pro-crypto people. The market patterns are remarkably similar to what's happened before, and it looks like Trump becoming president was just the catalyst that we needed, right? Some 6 months or so after the halving, we've kind of hit this inflection point, which is what's happened in the past. And it's been an incredible year for Bitcoin, which I had predicted earlier in the year with the ETFs. And assuming we are in this mania cycle and we do get this market structure to repeat itself like before, I anticipate a lot of excitement up until around Q3 next year, right? If we get the similar patterns. There's no guarantees that we will, but assuming we do, you can imagine around that time next year, we're still going to see a lot of growth and excitement. So what could this mean for Bitcoin and crypto prices overall? Well, Plan B, the creator of the famous stock to flow model for Bitcoin's price, and one of the most famous and bullish people in the space, he predicted we would hit 100K Bitcoin this year, and now he's predicting a minimum of 250K Bitcoin price next year. He actually says that he thinks the average should be 500K with a range of 250 to 1 million. To me, 250K doesn't actually seem unrealistic given how these cycles have played out in the past and the exponential nature of Bitcoin and crypto prices. But I'm not so sure if we, do hit anything close to 500K. That, to me personally, seems less likely. I wouldn't be surprised if we get around 200K to 300K range as the upper bound of this cycle, right? And if Bitcoin does indeed reach 250K this cycle, some point until Q3 next year, then its market capitalization would surpass every company in the world, as it would hit around 5 trillion market cap. And the only thing left would be to one day beat gold, which is at 8.5 trillion market cap today, right? But at 5 trillion, it would pass Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, and become the second most valuable asset in the world. Moreover, assuming the cycle does continue, then we'll likely see mania-fueled growth in all the other tokens as well, right? So the industry today is at around $3.5 trillion, and if BTC alone jumps to 250 and gets to 5 trillion, then, if we could assume that Bitcoin keeps its, around 50 to 60% dominance, which it tends to have, we'll likely get somewhere between 8 to 10 trillion dollars for the entire crypto space. That would obviously generate a huge price jump for many of the other tokens too. The likes of, major tokens like ETH and Sol and other major tokens beyond them, going at least double, if not more. During these cycles of mania, all the more successful tokens and coins tend to outperform Bitcoin. However, as soon as the cycle ends, they also drop harder and faster than Bitcoin. So it's a pretty tough game to play to ensure that you outperform Bitcoin over the long run. In my experience, the exuberance always lasts longer than you can imagine, but also comes to an immediate end and drops off more sharply too, right? So in that moment that it drops, it just seems like a normal drawdown. But instead of climbing back up, the prices continue to trend downwards, and people realize that they've kind of held on to something longer than they should have, right? From a price perspective. For now, though, it's great to surf this present wave of excitement, and I think this is where we are, and we're going to see a lot of 2025, right? That's how I imagine we'll see it going, um, with regards to the prices, right? Now, since Bitcoin's hit the 100K mark, where now where do we think it's going with a longer arc, right? Well, A16Z have put out their State of Crypto report for 2024. They always do this report every year, and they've seen that we're around 600 million global crypto users worldwide. That's around 7% of the world who own or have used crypto. The interesting thing about exponential technologies with strong network effects like Bitcoin and crypto is that they tend to grow faster over time, not slower. So we've reached 7% of the population. 600 million is around 7% of 8 billion. We're around 8 billion worldwide, right? Human population. Now, if it's taken us about 15 years to get to 7% of population into crypto, I tend to believe it'll be something like, this is my prediction, I tend to believe it'll be approximately half the time to get to 14%, because that's the nature of exponential trends, right? So if we, estimate something like 1.2 billion people, 14%, what would happen if we do reach those numbers of adoption? Well, obviously the price will go up, right? As more people adopt Bitcoin and crypto, the price goes up due to its scarcity and due to the nature of it all. Adam Back, one of the oldest and most prolific Bitcoiners, seems to agree. In a recent post, he quoted Hal Finney in saying that the adoption and hence growth in price could move faster now rather than slower. He's saying the curve may be steeper now. New users have a compounding adoption effect, not giving diminishing returns, i.e., returns slow over time, but actually making it kind of jump faster, right? We already have huge buyers like MicroStrategy who own 2% of all Bitcoin now, while the Bitcoin ETFs hold more than 1 million. If you add all them up, they hold more than 1 million of all the 21 million total Bitcoin. That's like 4.5%. Plus, with the chance of the US building its own strategic Bitcoin reserve, which one of the senators is pushing, we might see a rush for other huge companies and nation states to buy up more Bitcoin, which just keep kind of piling in the pressure, right? And raising the price up and pushing the whole of crypto up along with it. So my prediction, I think one BTC will hit $1 million even faster than we can imagine. BTC did its last 10x over 7 years, right? We saw at the start, it went from 10K to 100,000K from 2017 to 2024. My prediction is now that that BTC hits the next 10x and reaches $1 million in the next 5 to 7 years. And you've got big people in space like Kobe playfully saying that $0.1 million for Bitcoin seems cheap. If and when it does hit $1 million per BTC, it would have a market capitalization of around $20 trillion. And the whole crypto market could be worth as much as $40 trillion, following the same logic of Bitcoin dominance being around 50%, right? Importantly, as a reminder, though, this is not financial advice. You should certainly do your own research. This is just my educated guess after having been in space for almost a decade with my computing and economics background and having lived and seen everything I've seen. So I've primarily focused on price here, right? I've barely touched on the vast innovations that have arisen thanks to Bitcoin and crypto. the sheer technological and financial innovation and trial and error that we see in this space, though, is insane. I used to think that crypto would become more mature over time and less wild and crazy, but time has shown me the opposite to be true. The longer I've been in the space, the more wacky it has become around the edges, right? So if we experience all this exponential price action in the next 5 to 7 years, then I predict we'll have similar exponential innovations in the space, with the long game being that the entire financial apparatus of the real world economy eventually moves on chain and becomes tokenized, right? How that exactly looks, it's hard to tell, but that's my prediction. In terms of wacky innovation, we've actually seen recently AI agents roaming around crypto Twitter and influencing people's decisions. Truth Terminal kind of kicked this off. It's one of these Twitter AI agents, and it became the first multi-millionaire AI agent with a meme coin that it spawned called GOAT. You can find more about that story online. But with new platforms like Virtuals, we've got new AI influencers coming out all over the place, right? AI XBT, this account, has literally in a matter of weeks become one of the most influential personalities in crypto. I'll definitely make a longer post about this, but the point here is, AIs owning crypto and influencing human decisions is the first glimpses of, the level of innovation that's coming from the space, and the machine economy, which is a concept that's been spoken about before, kind of becoming a reality, right? And like I say, it just shows how these kind of technical innovations are just getting crazier and more sci-fi. This week, Google announced their first quantum computing chip called Willow, and quantum computing itself, like AI, used to be just a pipe dream. But with Google already kind of busy turning into a reality, assuming they keep moving fast and maybe we see it become something that's more, uh, usable by mainstream companies, maybe, 5 years or so from now, it would be such a huge technological leap. I mean, me personally, I think it could be classed as the single largest technological leap of this century, if, when that does happen. You know, computation that would take millions of years on a top supercomputer today could be done in minutes. Computers with this magnitude of processing power will affect all of humanity, all of human aspects, of our life. In particular, with the topic of crypto, it would affect our cryptography. If a computer previously took 1 billion years to figure out your private keys and take your crypto and affect a crypto network, it could now do it in minutes, right? And cryptography is everywhere. It's not just in cryptocurrencies. It's used to protect our military equipment, our conversations, our passwords, our databases, everything, including our cryptocurrency networks. So quantum computers are a real threat to our current systems. But Bitcoin and other crypto networks will therefore have to adapt to become truly quantum resistant, right? It's not a big threat now, but it is a thing to be aware of. And my prediction is that we'll see significant changes in some major blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana to make them survive potential quantum, computer attacks and adapt to this potential quantum future that we might be going into. These are just two examples, right? AI, quantum computers, are just two examples of big technological leaps. This space is driving so much innovation, and I've just barely scratched the surface on it. There are so many more things that can happen and that will happen in the future, undoubtedly more than we can even imagine, right? But one thing is certain, one thing seems certain, Bitcoin will keep producing its blocks, and the importance and therefore price of Bitcoin and crypto will keep growing and growing. And as I said earlier, if you want to set up your first crypto wallet so that you can get yourself some crypto and take part in this growing global crypto economy, plus access over $1,100 worth of courses entirely for free, then click in the link in the description and I'll catch you there.